Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Doing something a little bit different today, rather than doing stream highlights or whatever that is usually on this channel. I want to go back to my roots and talk about Yu-Gi-Oh. And what better way to start than to talk about the new format that Konami has announced, that being Genesis. For those of you who have not played Yu-Gi-Oh or are just stumbling upon this, haven't really heard about it. Genesis is a new format where every card is legal and you have a maximum point total for your deck. And most cards are priced at 0 points, but there are certain cards that are priced at points. So it creates a really fun deck building challenge. And as somebody that really likes that aspect of the game, it really has slingshotted me back into playing competitively. So this is the first deck, first draft of what I built for Genesis. It's not great. I'm going to put it out there, but I just want to put it on the channel and kind of just, put it out there and have people be able to slingshot ideas off of it. So this is one of my favorite decks I've ever played. This is Trickstar. And yeah, let's just get right into it. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth than a regular deck profile just because this is a rogue strategy that people don't really play a lot. So yeah, first you got 3 Candina. This is the main starter for any of your plays and whatnot on normal summon searches for a Trickstar card. Notably not once per turn. That will come into play a little bit later, but also when your opponent activates spell or trap, it burns them for 200. So pretty small, but it adds up over time. Next we have 3 Trickstar Lycoris, and she is probably the best card in your deck, honestly. She just accomplishes so much. So first of all, non once per turn, reveal her in your hand, target a Trickstar monster you control, bounce to the hand, special summon her. And then anytime your opponent adds a card to their hand from anywhere, burns them for 200 for each card added. So drawing for turn, searching, adding card from graveyard to hand, adding card from banished to hand. All those count towards that. And notably, like I said, it's not a once per turn. We have target a Trickstar that is not Lycoris. So it'll come up in certain combos a little bit further down the line. Next we have Korobane. Korobane is one of the newest additions to the deck. I say newest, but I mean, she came out like, what, 2018, 2019? You can special summon her from the hand once per turn. But if you control no monsters or all the monsters you control are Trickstars. You can also discard her when a Trickstar is attacking to double the Trickstar's attack. So she's a battle trick that also can just special summon herself to push for damage. Yeah, she comes up. Not as much as these two, but definitely is nice to have. Nice to just have an extra body sometimes. But she's the one you kind of want to see the least. But the battle trick does mean a lot. Your monsters cap out at very low attack points. So sometimes they can just normal summon a Gene Warped Werewolf and just get over your guys. So being able to have that, it comes up. Next we have a Trickstar Lilybell. A lot of people, a lot of lists cut this as soon as Korobane came out because it accomplished the same thing of just getting an extra body. For those of you that have actually kept up with Yu-Gi-Oh, Trickstar was meta relevant back when Orcus came out as an engine to get 2 bodies on board to go full Orcus combo, and Lilybell was your extra name, and then Korobane came out and people dropped Lilybell completely. I think in the pure versions, Lilybell is really fun to play around with. When she's added to your hand from anywhere, except by drawing, she special summons from the hand. And then she can attack directly, and when she deals battle damage, she grabs a Trickstar from your grave. Now that seems pretty simple on paper, but in a grind game scenario, you can do stuff where you start your turn off, you normal summon a Candina, search Lilybell, Lilybell special summons, and then you go battle, you attack with Lilybell, and Lilybell can add Lycoris back. And then still battle phase, you can reveal Lycoris, targeting Lilybell, bounce to hand, special summon Lycoris, and then special summon back Lilybell. So just off of one card, if you have a Lycoris engrave, can get you 3 monsters. and just put some damage on board as well. So, yeah, I think she's important. She's fun to play around with. She's definitely cuttable if you have cards that you want to play. But I think you'll find Trickstar does not have as many great cards as you would like. Speaking of which, right off the bat, we have Narcissus. This one, if you deal burn damage to an opponent, you can special summon it from the hand. And then does some other thing. Yeah, every time your opponent activates a monster effect in hand or graveyard, burns for 200. I played her as just an extra body. A random level 2 or level 4 monster. She never came up whatsoever. Future builds that I've already put together cut her. But since I wanted to keep this true to what I played in tournament, yeah, I was playing her. So, she's definitely cuttable. I was only playing one as just like an extra name, but like I said, it really didn't come up. And the last monster for the engine, I believe, is mandatory, is Honest. Like I said, battle tricks are really important for this deck. Normal summoning a Candina or having a Lycoris on board just puts a good, an okay amount of pressure on board. Because your opponent's, just by playing the game, is taking damage, right? They're paying their taxes. So what people will do is go battle, especially not knowing what this deck does. Will just go battle to try and run over your monsters. I mean, 16 and 18 is like the highest, and then Corabane's 2,000, right? If you hold on the Corabane in hand, or you have an Honest in hand, you don't have to worry about that, because suddenly your monsters are just big. And yeah, it's pretty alright. It's just to keep your opponent taking burn damage, which comes up a little bit later as well. So that is the engine monsters. Like I said, Narcissus, I would personally cut. I'd have cutter going forward. You could play more copies of Honest. Honest costs 0 points. This entire main engine doesn't cost any points. Who would have thought a deck from 2012 doesn't cost any points? But yeah. Notably, there's no Herald of Arclight here. I totally forgot that card existed, and in future builds, I totally played it going forward, just because Herald of Arclight's really good, if you can play it. For more engine, we got Light Stage. Light Stage, on activation, searches for a Trickstar monster. And then every time a Trickstar deals damage to an opponent via its effect or battle damage, it burns them for an additional 200. So suddenly Candina, if you attack directly, deals 2,000 damage. Where it really adds up is like Lycoris, where every time your opponent searches or draws or anything like that, they're burning for 400. So it gets to be kind of scary. You basically nickel and dime your opponent to victory, and it's kind of really fun. The other reason, and one of the main reasons I actually wanted to play this deck, was in Genesys, a lot of the back row removal is either bad or costs a lot of points. So I wanted to find decks that had really good ways of outing back row, especially with decks like Odeon being pretty good. Light Stage, you can target an opponent's set spell or trap and basically turn it off for the turn. So they have to either activate it then, or they lose it. And then at the end phase, they have to activate it. So throughout the day, I would hit cards like Book of Eclipse with this, and my opponent would just be like, okay, I'm not going to activate that. And then during the end phase, they would have to activate it. I would draw like 4 cards off of it. So it's really fun, especially in a slower format like Genesys. I find being able to block a back row, just to be able to get like a Candina through, is really helpful. And there's not enough hand traps running around that the blanking a back row actually comes up every once in a while. Notably, as well, if you draw Candina, you're usually grabbing Light Stage to grab Lycoris. If you just open Light Stage, you're usually going Light Stage, add Candina, add Lycoris. So, just because it can only search a monster. Next engine piece, Dark Room and Nightmare. I cut this from builds going forward, but it was pretty fun when it goes off. Every time your opponent burns for any amount of effect damage, it burns them for an extra 2 or 300? 300, yeah. So, suddenly, Lycoris turns into every time your opponent searches a card, burns them for 1,000. So you can do some silly things, which is what I kind of tailored the deck towards. Unfortunately, I never got to see it come to full fruition, but in theory, it's really funny. You know, you have a Lycoris or two Lycorises, and just right next to each other, you activate a reincarnation, or your opponent searches and burns for extra like 2,000. So, yeah, this card doesn't do anything on its own though, so that's why I cut it going forward. Is that game plan does not work very well in this modern day and age. So, couple last pieces of engine here. Got Trickstar Reincarnation. This is the card that everybody hates to see in this deck. Your opponent banishes their hand and draws the same amount. And then in the graveyard, you can banish it to reborn a Trickstar monster. So, you don't have a lot of recursion in this deck. Between Lilybell and this is like, if your Trickstars are in the grave, they kind of just stay there. So, Reincarnation is nice just because Lycris burns your opponent for every card that they add or draw, right? So if you have Lycris on board, you activate this, and your opponent has 6 cards in hand, they're burning for 1,200. That turns into 14 with Light Stage. And then, what is that? That's 1,800 with Dark Room and Nightmare by activating this card. So suddenly it gets really out of control. And then none of these cards have once per turns on them. So if you like have a Candina and a Lycoris in hand, and you've drawn a reincarnation, you can search a second reincarnation and burn your opponent for like 4,000, like just for looking at their hand. So with that as well, I'm also playing Disturbance Strategy. This is reincarnation, but worse. Your opponent shuffles all the cards in their hand into the deck and then draws the same amount. So what another fun thing about these cards is if your opponent is like doing a setup combo and searching, you can just kind of screw up their plays sometimes by just making them get rid of their cards. Now, that's why this card is better than Disturbance Strategy, is like this, they can still draw into the card, they shuffle it, so if they're playing a 3 of, like, they have a good chance of drawing it still, whereas this gets rid of the cards completely. So, really, the whole reason that I wanted to go in on Disturbance Strategy was not just for the Lycoris burn effect, but for the thing that everybody kind of knows about Trickstar from back when it was meta, and that's Droll and Lockbird. The combo goes, your opponent searches for any card in their deck, and that is the activation window for Droll to activate. You activate Reincarnation, and then you chain Droll and Lockbird, and Droll and Lockbird will resolve. Reincarnation will banish their hand, and they do not draw any more cards. So you can basically just shut them out of the game completely. Now, what I did, I got this combo twice all day. Both times, my opponent was able to kind of commit to their board a little bit before they searched, and then I still had an uphill battle of like beating over a Voiceless Voice card. And so it was not the best experience. And even then, if with how many one card starters there are in the game, you're not usually ending the game on turn 2 or turn 3. So even if you set up the Droll Reincarnation lock, your opponent's still probably going to get another turn. So yeah, it's all right. There's a reason I went with a different way going forward. I'm still playing Droll, still playing Reincarnation, but instead of trying to go all in on it, I'm trying to do more Trickstar shenanigans. Which also is the start of our non-engine. Droll and Lockbird is 5 points, so we have 15 right there. Like I said, there's no points in the regular Trickstar cards, so I fit 45 points to play Ash Blossom. In my limited testing, I've been to 3 tournaments and numerous times online testing with friends. This card can just straight up end turns. In Modern Advanced, it's not that great, and it's really only played to beat like Mulch armies and stuff. But in Genesys, this card is almost a turn ender every time I've played it. And it buys you an extra turn and things like that. Now, in a better deck, it would probably do a lot more, but yeah, I anytime I can play this card, I try to. But a card that I am actually swiftly learning to hate is Fuwalas. I thought, okay, this is Maxi Light. Maxi is 50 points, this is 7 points. Ash Blossom's 15, so Just in these 3 copies, there's 45 points on the board. Fool loss is 7, so you got 21 points here. I never liked this card at all. Every time I saw it, I felt like I saw this card more than I've seen any other card in my deck on the day that I played this in tournament. The problem is just not a lot of decks are buildable in Genesys. You have a few Ritual Beast. I've seen a lot of people trying to play Manadium and things like that, but I feel like the best decks in this format are not trying to spam the board. They're trying to have large pushes that also have a good amount of recursion. And so if you Fool loss your opponent, they might give you 2 or 3 draws, but your cards are not as strong because you're not drawing as many hand traps. And your opponent's already making half boards because they don't have as many of the good generic like extra deck staples. Links aren't around and things like that. So I cut this from every single deck I have moving forward, with the exception of one. Just because Valor and Ghost Mourner are the exact same price bracket for the cost, the point cost. So I would rather just have a Valor or a Ghost Mourner than this card. So those are the hand traps, 9 hand traps there. And then another piece of non-engine. This card is weird. And not a lot of people remember it, but this is Fenrir Light. You can special summon it from your hand, banishing a total of, 5? Yeah, 5 or more cards from hand, deck, or extra deck, or hand, grave, or extra deck. And so, and then if it battles an opponent's monster, you banish the monster face down. So it is good at just clearing a monster, and there's not a ton of negation out there. Obviously against build-a-board decks, it's one thing, but it's randomly like pretty strong in this deck because I don't think I ever went to my extra deck other than for Ultimate Slayer targets. And even then, like, if you've gone first and you've sent some cards to the graveyard, you've played against your opponent, and then you have a turn 3, you can just kind of like banish 5 cards from your graveyard to summon this as well. So I think people are sleeping on this card. I think it's actually pretty good. I just don't think that there's enough. It's like there's better cards in better decks that you can play. But I was never upset to see this card. I think it was actually like pretty good all day. So non-engine monsters. Obviously with Genesys being a lot slower, we can actually play trap cards. So I'm playing 2 Floodgate and 3 Ring of Destruction. Again, just trying to nickel and dime my opponent. You go Candina, Lycoris, you get Reincarnation or whatnot. You have Light Stage set up, and you resolve a Ring of Destruction to burn them for 1800. Suddenly your opponent's starting to get a little sweaty, and like seeing their life points go down by 400 every time or something like that. They start to freak out a little bit, and that was the whole theory behind this. I still think this card's pretty decent going forward. But I think that there are better traps, things like Breakthrough Skill, Solemn Scolding, things like that cost 0. Floodgate Trap Hole, I think, is also pretty good. But I don't know. Jury's still out on if trap cards are good. I think in a slower, like much grindier deck, something like Trickstar, it means a lot more, but it's still, a trap card's not going to end their turn, and sometimes you just need like a better card. So yeah, that's the main deck, 40 cards. Yeah, we'll go over changes at the end, but for extra deck, like I said, I almost never went into this, so there's just some BS in here. Cards that I was like, okay, this could come up at some point. So first of all, we have Exciton Knight. For some reason this card costs 0, and I think it's absolutely insane. Yeah, Diamond Direwolf. This was just a random rank 4 I found in a binder, and can pop a card, I guess. Same with Light Dragon Ignister. This one is just better Diamond Dire. Yeah, it is what it is. Redoer, grindy games. You can just summon this and try to maybe steal combo pieces from your opponent, draw cards, whatnot. Eclipse Twins. I don't even know why this is in here, honestly. If I ran it back, I'd probably be playing like something like Giant Hand, Castel, but I haven't found those cards in my bulk yet, so I have to go find those. playing Utopia and Utopia Lightning. For those of you who don't remember, this was the way that you got over boss monsters. Your Liger Dancers or something like that. Now, obviously, Liger Dancer has a Regeki attached to it, but like, an Apocryphort Towers was outed by this card. So, I thought it would come up. Never did. We're playing Constellar Pleiades. This comes up just on the off chance you have 2 Korribane. It's like a good card. You can also play Durandal here too. And I do. Actually, I was working on a build of this deck that is a little bit more aggro, playing cards like Artifact Sanctum and Moraltalk, and maybe cutting all the non-engine to play like Scythe. But I don't know. I don't think it's that great. Typhon, we're paying 10 points for Typhon. This card did come up quite a bit, and it's a house. I mean, there's a reason it costs points. It's one of my favorite cards in the game. I think it's a very skillful card. It doesn't just win the game on the spot, but I was very happy to see this card. And then we're playing Ultimate Slayer targets. Like I said, we don't use our extra deck, so my theory was, okay, there are going to be games that I draw 2 Ultimate Slayer, or they go into a grindy game scenario where I need to activate a second Ultimate Slayer. So I'm playing 2 targets for each. 2 Wind Pegasus, 2 Aggregator, and then a Garua and an Entis. I don't have any Malongs, so I didn't play any Malongs. But Wind Pegasus is kind of Malong, but slower. But I actually kind of prefer it a little bit. I don't know. I think I have to do more testing with Malong, but for now I like the Wind Pegasus. And I don't want to pay money for a Malong right now. Natis is in here, cost 7 points. I just had the points. And I was like, okay, I can have a Natis and a Garua, and then send whatever I need at the time. So if I'm going against like Apophis, I can put in the Ultimate Slayer, hit their fusion guy, and send a Natis to blow up a back row or something like that. Or I can, if I'm just going against one thing, I can like Garua to draw a card. So I like the flexibility. So that's the extra deck, 15 cards. Like I said, really didn't come up. The only time it ever came up was like Typhon. Side deck, this is where I got a little spicy. I think that there are some pretty good cards in here. Obviously, format staples. You have DD Crow, you have Cosmic, and Ultimate Slayer. I believe these cards belong in every side deck at this point. They're just good cards. They all cost 0. I wouldn't be shocked to see that Ultimate Slayer gets points in the future. Yeah, I mean, they're just all good cards. I would probably, in future builds, I actually did go up to 3 of each. But, yeah. And then this is where my spice is. I was playing 5 hands. I actually don't think these are bad. I don't think that these are bad. I think if your deck can spare a normal summon, going second, this is actually the best board breakers that you can be playing. Just because they will tear apart a board and clear the way for you to do stuff. I played Ursarctic at one point, and that deck didn't need its normal summon whatsoever, so you can just like normal summon a hand and just go at them, and then main phase 2 build your own board. Yeah, I think it's because removal is so few and far between. Cards like Dark Ruler are pretty good, but it's harder to do stuff with them. Yeah, and like with Eater of Millions in the main, and then these, like, your battle phase becomes a removal phase, pretty much. And then finally, this is a card I immediately regret playing, this present card. Your opponent discards their hand and draws 5 cards. So, easy to see why this was here. This is literally just, I wanted to play the 3rd best reincarnation, Trickstar reincarnation, and my strategy was going first, side out Fuwa losses, put these in, and then I have 6 math, Caleb. 8 copies of Trickstar reincarnation. I just have to see the droll, and then I can do that. In practice, it never came up, and when it did, it really wasn't that great. So, yeah. Like I said, going forward, I'd probably do, like, the Cosmic, 3rd DD Crow, and then I was actually thinking about, like, a Storming Mirror Force or a Quaking Mirror Force, just because like back row's kind of disrespected. And having a mass board wipe on your opponent's turn is kind of crazy. So, yeah, that's the deck. That's what I played at least. Going forward, like I said, I want to go less into the strategy of like doing Lycoris and Droll shenanigans and like trying to just reincarnation my opponent to death and actually do combos. So, my initial theory going forward was to cut these and the Narcissus, and playing 3 Herald of Arclight and then 3 of this card, Chain Summoning. This you have to activate as Chainlink 2 or Chainlink 3 or higher, and you gain an additional 3 normal summons this turn. Or you gain 2 additional normal summons. So the way that you proc it really easy in this deck is Candina Lycoris. So you normal summon Candina, trigger effect, chain Lycoris targeting Candina, and then you chain this as Chainlink 3. Candina can search herself, so you can just go Candina, and then you have a Lycoris and 2 Candina, and you can make like a giant hand or something. Again, it's not great, but the vision's there. So I think it's a little bit stronger than the version I was playing. Also playing the artifacts as well. I think that there's something there. You know, Korabane is a level 5 light, so you could easily do like Durandal, Pleiades, stuff like that. So that's actually the last time that Trickstar was meta relevant in Advanced was doing stuff like that. But we had access to like instant fusion and things like that. So, and Scythe. So yeah, that is what I played. Obviously, first Genesys kind of tournament experience. Learned a lot. I plan to make a video on like an introduction to Genesys and kind of what I've learned by playtesting it. I'm obsessed with this format. It's all I can think about. So yeah, look forward to that. And I will have another deck profile up shortly for the last deck that I played and took first in the tournament. Yeah, in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.